Hi, Hana. So nice to have you here.
Well, so nice to be here. And I'm sorry for switching into English. I couldn't do it in Bulgarian.
So straight to the point, CME is one of the leading content creators and broadcasters in the region. You operate in 6 regional segments and you reach almost 49 million people daily. Tell us about your ESG strategy. What do you do?
Lots of things, but I'll try to be brief because I think we have about 15 minutes. Our timer is not running. Does that mean that we can go on indefinitely? Or I guess, now it's up. Thank you. Just like basically any other business or any other really important business nowadays, we do have our ESG strategy that we've launched about 2 years ago, and we're in the process of implementing. But by the nature of things, of course, by the nature of our business, it is slightly different potentially from what other businesses are doing. We, of course, do focus on the E segment, on the environmental segment, because we do leave, such as any activity, a carbon footprint. But for the media in general, we believe that what is the most important is the S, because that's where our biggest impact lies. That's where we reach our audience, and this is where we really need to focus. So it's in essence, it's all about content. As it always is. It's always been about content. It's still about content, even with our ESG strategy.
Of course, because you're not only applying it internally, you can also reach a lot of people and promote it and educate it. Are you verified? Do you use a specific software?
So we use for the E. Now I'll go back to the E part. So the process is where the way we apply that, or what we use, is that we try to decrease our carbon footprint on the productions. So as you know, we produce massive shows such as MasterChef, The Voice of Bulgaria, and tons of others. And while we're producing them, as you can imagine, again, a lot of lights, a lot of energy, generators, cameras, a lot of crew, it does leave a certain carbon footprint. So we go and look into ways how we could decrease that on set. And to do that, or to help us do that, CME has become, back in 2021, has become a member of an international platform called Albert, which is a platform that was launched by BAFTA, British Association of Film and Television.
I think everyone heard of the BAFTA word, but it's also your
I just wanted to mention. And so we are a member, and we are using Albert platform to help us calculate our carbon footprint on the productions. So during the pre-production process, we are looking with our producers into an action plan, which contains some 100 points that helps us lead the way and decrease the carbon footprint. We gather the data, we insert it into the calculator, and at the end of the day, we see what our carbon footprint on that particular production was. And if we did well, and it gets verified by Albert, we are certified as either carbon neutral or sustainable production. So we're striving to acquire those certifications for as many of our productions as we can. I believe in Bulgaria, the first time that they did it was in 2022, and they certified 3 of the productions. And this year, I believe it will be 8 at least, I think my colleague told me. So very proud of them. And we're going along similar route also in our other markets. So for this year, we want 60% of the total production that CME puts out to be Albert certified, which is roughly, let me see, I think we're looking at about 120 productions overall for all of our markets, and 60% out of those we would like to have certified.
Is it hard to operate on so many markets where there are so many specifics when you try to implement the strategy?
Well, for the production sustainability strategy, yes and no, because we in the headquarters, we have the privilege to write down the rules. and then we send it to the countries, and then our colleagues on the spot have to deal with it. And I'm very grateful they do it, and they really do it greatly. So, and it's really up to them to deal with the local specifics. And I have some of them here. That's why I'm trying to find them, because they're really doing an amazing job. Because it's of course it's not easy, because unlike in the Western markets, where the whole issue around climate change and the need to, operate more sustainably, it's not an issue anymore. It's been negotiated politically. It is there. It's something that we need to, work with. In our markets, the situation is still slightly different. So there's still a lot of debate going on around the topic, which doesn't make it, of course, easier to sell it, for instance, to our crews, because then you have the technicians coming and saying, I really want my steak, I can't work if I don't get it. And in a way, I understand they work hard. They work often 12 hours a day. But, on the other hand, our predecessors, if they went into the mines and worked for 12 hours a day, they certainly did not have meat every day. So there is always, a way around it. But it's not an easy job, certainly not for our green captains on the set when we are shooting.
For sure, and I can say from the perspective of the regulator that our market is not that big, but as we can see, your enterprise, especially BTV here in Bulgaria, they are really to be praised, because what you're doing is very innovative. You're very compliant with all the regulations out there, and you're doing even more, and you're promoting sustainability in a very persistent way. So tell us about the other parts of the ESG strategy. So it's not only about environment, but we have also work ethic. We have also accessibility when it comes about the audience. You have great initiatives.
Yes. As you all know, or you might have heard, there is this great quote by Sir David Attenborough, who said famously once that that climate change, or tackling climate change, is not really anymore about technology. We know how to do it, but it's now more about communication, which brings us to the media and the part that we have to play. So I think for us, the S part, we came up with a term, responsible content. And for us, this means a way to look at our content more consciously, make sure that it's always well-sourced, that it's always, ethically correct, that it's produced, with certain ethical standards, that we disclose our sources if need be. We apologize if there is a mistake. And I think, so this is one part, how we approach it. And I think that is becoming more and more important as well in the media landscape that is increasingly more fragmented, and we all know that the masses of disinformation that are flooding us, are sky high, and is not going to get any better with all that artificial intelligence allows us to do, such as deep fakes. So I think that for traditional media, it is really imperative to stand their ground and to really make the viewers also understand where the value is, and that is in our credibility and the trust that we are able to build with our viewers. So that's really on the approach part, and there are other things. We are, for instance, CME, we run commercial stations. So typically, people don't really think of commercial stations as the ones to put out, messages or context with too much of a societal impact, or social impact. This is traditionally viewed to be a domain of public broadcasters, but we would like to disagree with that. I think that's it. I think it's very important that also commercial media bring up important societal topic that moves us forward for multiple reasons. Firstly, we have different viewership to the public broadcasters, and our viewership are the masses that need to be talked to, and we are experts in how to talk to them. So, we produce our shows that they love. We produce our daily series that they love. They identify with the characters. All that it requires a certain expertise to talk to the masses in a way that they accept it, that they learn, that they appreciate it. And this is, again, what our creators are realizing, what our producers know. And we try to take important topics such as climate change or biodiversity changes and make them understandable for the masses. We were discussing this earlier, but it can be in various ways. Like here in MasterChef, I saw the clip just yesterday. They did on one MasterChef episode. I don't know, maybe some of you have seen it in the room, but the contestants were changed into bee costumes, and they were working, with honey. And, it turned out to be a great entertainment. And at the same time, it conveyed a certain message. I know that in our colleagues in Slovenia, for instance, they have the show similar to Voice of Bulgaria. And what they did is that the presenters of the show, plus 2 kids, they got dressed into costumes of trash bins, and they wrote specifically a song about trash bins, and how important, or how to sort out waste. Again, you would think, okay, well, that's silly, but on the stage, it looked great. It was great fun. They had a really good audience reaction. So this is very important. So we really want to keep in mind that it's important that we pick up those topics and communicate them comprehensively to our audience. And then at last but not least, of course, we're looking at content accessibility, which means, in our words, to try to make it accessible to people with disabilities in various ways. You can use subtitles, audio commentary, sign language. Again, very important, very strategic question for us. And this is something we want to grow exponentially in the next 3-4 years. So our content really becomes accessible to all.
But you already do, because the audience very often has great expectations from private enterprises, because they're leading the market. They're mostly viewed, and people just turn on their remote and they see you and they want everything from you. And they often don't realize you're just a private enterprise, and they cannot ask you to have public duties. But you actually manage to meet those expectations as well. And I love how you incorporate in all of your shows and your segments different messages which educate people and which make them think about what's sustainable and what should be done in the society, so we have bigger fairness and better governance. And a great example is your initiative about how to clean Bulgaria for one day. It's one of the greatest initiatives here, and thousands of people go outside and they just clean the environment for a day. And when we're talking about accessibility, our next speakers are going to talk more about it when it comes about interpretation and accessibility to the deaf community. But tell us about that. Already in Bulgaria, for example, but tell us also about your other enterprises. Elections are interpreted the entire day, which is a very hard job. And also the news, we have interpretation in the news in some of the finals of the shows.
Yes, correct. Thank you. And this is... Well, what to say about that? I mean, I think partially some of the stations and the law differs country by country. So we are legally required to do our bit, which is, totally fair. For the rest, you're right. We're commercial stations. We're private enterprise. So we still have to make money apart, from doing all this good. But so of course there is a consideration, because those ways of making content accessible have traditionally been quite costly. Luckily for us, and for everybody here, it is that the new technologies allow us to do this at much, much lower costs. Hence, again, an opportunity for us to grow the volume of such content. And we do now have plans that should hopefully get all of our stations within 2 or 3 years on the, I think we're talking about 70% of all of our content that we hope to have accessible in one way or another to our audience across the CME countries.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Hana. Thank you everyone for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.